What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square with Chasing Cinema.
Mr. James Hsu.com,
and we just got out of Avengers Infinity War.
Arguably the biggest movie of 2018.
10 years in the making.
Chances are the biggest movie of the year, right? Like, box office wise, chances are it's going to dominate the summer. Chances are it's going to keep the lead the entire year. A movie that has been working 18 films up to this point.
It's amazing.
We started with Iron Man back in 2008. Now, a decade later, we finally get the conclusion, inserting all of these lovely characters. Thor, Captain America, Doctor Strange, everybody, all finally together in what is arguably the biggest Marvel movie ever, the most anticipated film for comic book fans.
One of the biggest films of all time, dog.
Well, arguably, huge.
You know, no company, no studio has ever done an amalgamation like where you have so many different storylines that all interweave in and created a beautiful bacon basket.
And any replicate has failed.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
The monster universes.
Couldn't make it past the Mummy.
The DC universe.
Couldn't really,
have yet to find their balance. So now we have Avengers Infinity War. Balance, something that Thanos is searching for. I love how they call him Thanos in this movie, not like Thanos, you know. But anyway, what did you think of, I was about to say Captain Marvel. That's coming out next year, or at the end of this year, or later this year. What did you think of?
Year, March.
Oh, yeah, next year. What did you think of Infinity War?
I absolutely loved it.
Oh.
I absolutely loved it. The movie is the longest Marvel film they've ever made.
2 hours and 30 minutes.
We have 1 quadrillion characters.
Yes.
So they were like, okay, we need to make a plot storyline. We need to storyboard this out where we can bunch together, multiple storylines.
Group them up, yeah.
And make it so everything is still gonna make sense, still entertaining. And for me, they did exactly that. I was so well entertained in this film. I had so much fun. We can go down the list, but the truth is we ain't got the time. Nobody has the time. Just the fact is, I enjoyed this so much. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy, how they came in, and I love how they got to meet each other for the first time. I loved our...
arguably the funniest part about the movie is when the Guardians of the Galaxy run into Thor.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing, I mean, for me, I think your highlights of this film are easily Thanos, Josh Brolin.
Oh, man.
I mean, I think granted, I think the last couple films I've said, this is the best villain, this is the best villain.
Hela was good.
Hela was good. Killmonger was great.
Killmonger was amazing.
Thanos is on a whole new level.
Yes, there's like no one even near.
Yeah, I mean, very developed. They make him a really complex character that I think is interesting and intriguing.
He's evil as hell, but you still can understand his thinking is like, yeah, we are running out of resources. Yeah. Yes, we are overpopulated.
They tried to make him, kind of understandable in his very, almost like, very genocidal maniac way. Yeah. They try to give him a purpose and they try to justify his actions, but there are some things in the movie that give him this, sympathetic aspects. And I would have never guessed it when we went back in time that Thor would eventually take his reign as like king of the Avengers. I mean, after Thor 1 and 2, he wasn't doing much for me. And
after Thor 2, I think a lot of people were like,
what? Yeah, a lot of people felt that way. What? Thor comes out Ragnarok and shows everybody how good Chris Hemsworth could be if you give him the right charm, you let him be a little bit more funny and not as focused and dark and talking the way that he talks in the first couple films, and just lets him kind of loosen up. And here, he delivers to be the most electrifying, no pun intended, Avenger. And I mean, every time he's on screen, he is just so captivating and so wonderful.
And our crowd went nuts.
Multiple times for that character. I do think, though, there are some characters that are in the film that don't really stand out and don't really do much for the film. And granted, when you have a movie with this many characters, that's bound to happen. But it's surprising who they choose to really not do much for the movie. One of the biggest and one of the most important characters, I feel, could be not in the movie and it still works the same. We'll talk maybe a little bit more when we get into spoilers. I don't want to get too much into it. Overall, I enjoyed this film, but I can't say I loved this film.
I'm gonna have to say this is my favorite Marvel film.
Yes.
Now you're saying that's the hype train of Hsu talking.
I think you might just be really hyped on it and you're really into it right now because I think there are flaws. Not only is this movie, I mean, granted.
Well, I didn't say it was a perfect film. I just said it was my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if it is, I can't blame you. I mean, this does have so much for fans, and it gives us so much to really enjoy. But I think if you look hard at this movie, I think there are some major flaws that really stop it from being great. One of them being, I think the emotional beats in this movie, you enjoy the pacing, right? I mean, this movie's 2.5 hours, and it doesn't really drag. I mean, granted, you cut 15 minutes, it works that much better. But the movie moves in a way where emotional beats don't really happen. Emotional things take place, emotional events take place, but we're not ever really able to sit and kind of take in those emotions and really look, like really realize what's happening. There are multiple events in the movie that call for a lot of emotion, and I don't think we're ever able to really sit there and really bring those to surface. I've told my audience many times, I'm a sap. It's easy to make me get emotional, and I didn't get emotional in this movie, and I find that pretty shocking. You know, I think it's fun. I think it has a lot of great action beats, but it is a movie that pretty much just climbs to a big climax, and even that, this movie is just climbing to a bigger climax, obviously with the sequel coming out in 2000...
Next year.
Yeah, next year, 2019. So, you know, I wanted to love this movie, but I think there are certain things, including that being the biggest, where there's so much going on, there's a lot to kind of enjoy, but somehow I still walked away not 100% satisfied. I think it's because I wasn't able to emotionally get all these feelings out. I mean, I don't need to tell all of you, and like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, but people went into this movie knowing it was going to be emotional, knowing it was going to be a pivotal film for characters, for the Marvel Universe, and even though it has that feeling like, oh, we got to do these things, it never really feels like it really touches me, at least, and a few other people. And I think that, to me, is where the movie really kind of loses its theme. You know, the characters are doing things. I don't feel like all of them are always so important. You know, I mean, I think there's some great action beats, but overall, I just think with the substance and, you know, the amount of heaviness and themes and intelligence that these last couple films have bring in, you know, especially Black Panther, being able to balance so many things and be able to be different. I think the Avengers, you know, Thor Ragnarok felt different, Black Panther felt different. Avengers Infinity War feels like what we've seen before, and I think that may be another thing that I faced, where it goes back to what we were familiar with the last two films I think really broke out of. Not saying that all films have to continually break out, but I think this one, going back to that kind of style, made us feel that way. You disagree?
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved it, and I loved how once the Guardians came on, it felt like a Guardians film. Once Thor came out, it felt like Ragnarok. That just those themes.
Only no immigrant songs.
Yeah,
they're pedantic.
I loved it. Yeah, I was blown away by it. I enjoyed it so much. I loved.
Did you have any favorite action beats or any favorite scenes?
Yeah, probably my favorite scene, and we'll probably also go into spoilers on this, was also the part I hated the most, was when one set of the Avengers were fighting Thanos.
Okay.
And I thought that the way they did that with Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and the way they choreographed that, I loved it.
Okay, we'll get into that. I think one of the most overlooked sequences in this, or one of the most overlooked action beats in this movie, I think people will forget because it happened so early, is a battle between Thanos and Hulk. It's shot very well, it's very intense, and you really get to learn where our character is and how powerful Thanos is very quickly. I think it's a really effective scene. But overall, again, I think the movie is good. I think it's definitely the best Avengers film. I can't say it's the best Marvel film. I don't think I liked it as much as Black Panther, or Thor Ragnarok, or Civil War, but I think there is something here, and I think it's a movie that does benefit from the more you rewatch it. This is the second time I've seen the film, and while it confirms what I did believe, it's still enjoyable, and you know, that has to speak for something. Again, I don't think this is a bad movie, I just think this is a solid movie that could have been great. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that's good. I think maybe we can talk a little bit of spoilers.
Yeah, let's hop into spoilers.
Okay, so a couple of the spoilers. I love the scene where everyone's fighting Thanos, everyone meaning the Team Iron Man side.
Yeah, Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Doctor Strange, and Iron Man.
So I love the way they choreographed it. Everyone that did their thing.
Yes.
Then Mantis on top of them.
Yes.
Shunned them down.
Hand in hand, the
gauntlet in the air. And then the part that annoyed me so much was the fact that it's all Chris Pratt's fault that this all happened.
Dang.
Because
it's all Star-Lord's fault.
It is, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But granted, I don't know if I could be like that. Like it's all your fault, because I mean, the poor dude was in immense peril.
Yeah, but that's why I rather of them wrote the story where he was also holding Thanos down, and then Thanos got out because he's so strong and powerful, instead of taking the turn they did, which is they made him so it's his fault. Yeah, that is what they did.
Yeah, but in the sense that like Russo. He was so overtaken by his emotion.
No, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. I thought that was annoying because it's, you know, it got everyone killed. Yeah, basically, right? And then so for me, that was something I didn't like. Maybe I can think of other things. What about you? Was there anything?
I think my main issue when it comes to spoilers, I mean, there's probably a lot of things that spoilers-wise here. The appearance of Red Skull coming back.
Oh yeah.
What a throwback! I mean, you're gonna go back. That's way back. You know, technically the first film. Yeah, the first film in the timeline, not chronologically, obviously, but in the actual timeline. Seeing him and seeing where his story goes.
It wasn't Hugo Weaving's voice though.
No. Yeah, because Hugo Weaving, I think, had expressed that he's really not interested in doing these anymore either.
I thought that would have been cool though if they would have got it back.
But it sounds fine. It's not like too distracting or anything.
I didn't even know it wasn't his based on the voice.
No.
I had to look at the character.
I think you know the most pivot. Before I get to like what I had the problem with the most, I think the pivotal moment as far as emotionally.
You didn't like or didn't like?
No, I thought that was cool. I'm just talking about spoilers before I get into what I didn't like. Also, I think the Gamora scene is arguably the strongest emotionally, and while I complained that I couldn't fully connect to the things that I wanted to or really be able to kind of sit in that emotion, the moment that Thanos throws Gamora off that
powerful.
It is quite good, and I wish every death, because there are a lot of them, felt that way. You know, we kill off Idris Elba very quickly. It feels like we know we're gonna do it. Immediately we're like, all right, he's dying. Like the moment we see him on the floor, we kind of know that character's going. Doesn't really feel much. Thor has a big reaction to it, which I was kind of, you know, iffy about, because his reaction to Loki's death, which is immediately following that, he doesn't have that big a reaction. Granted, he's more chained up and things like that, but, you know, I think instead of screaming or anything, it was a moment to him to kind of shut down more. That, to me, didn't really emotionally affect me, and everyone loves Loki. Like, Loki's one of the most charismatic characters in the you know, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and seeing his kind of end didn't really emotionally affect me. And I think that's where my mind goes, well, if that didn't really affect me, then there's some problems here. Then we fast forward to the very end of the film, where I think the movie makes the biggest mistake. I understand that people walked into this movie thinking Captain America, Iron Man, the OGs are going. So the movie, you know, wants to do this twist and follow the Infinity Gauntlet, because I believe the Infinity Gauntlet, if I'm not mistaken, starts off with Thanos having all the Infinity Stones and killing every 50% of the world, right? But in this movie, he gets them at the very end, and when he snaps, right? So if you haven't, I mean, I guess if you haven't seen it, Thor gets the axe in him. He still gets able to snap his fingers. That's where you should end the movie, first of all. Right when he snaps, when he goes white, you end it there. I think there's a far more like intriguing, much more anticipating feeling you get from that. But then the following characters die. And who they decide to take are the exact opposite, right? You have Spider-Man, who's obviously like a major character. Black Panther. You have the most of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Falcon. I mean, you have a lot of characters, and to me, that is like when it very much reminds me of Batman vs Superman when you put Superman in the grave. You know, there's no emotional attachment because you know that's not final. You know that's not the case. And while I think the Spider-Man, Iron Man scene, when Spider-Man grabs onto him and becomes a child again, which I loved in Homecoming, that Tom Holland can play this guy and he feels like a superhero and he feels like he's up there, and then he could turn into a kid again. That scene is good, but it still doesn't break that ceiling to make it truly mean something. But I mean, killing them off, I think, to me, ruins it, because we immediately know that these deaths don't mean anything. Because we know we're going to be able to turn back the clock and change everything about it.
So what difference would that have made then if it was the other half? Because your argument, it sounds like, is you're saying that...
I'm not saying that...
It wasn't Captain America and Iron Man, they did the opposite. But now,
no, I'm saying I think that's what people were going in and expecting.
Yeah, but now you're saying that because the time stone you can reverse, so what difference would it have made anyway?
Well, I think
Let's just say it was the other half.
Okay, well, if it was the other half, there is that feeling of maybe them actually staying dead because people are suspecting that.
No, you would be doing the same review saying the same thing.
No, I don't think so because you don't have a character that immediately stands out like Black Panther, who does a great movie. We know he's going to come back and kill him off. You don't do that with Spider-Man, who we know has a sequel coming out. 3 films down the line.
But we know they're really not going to kill Captain America.
No. Well, yeah, I mean that's true. Well, we don't know. We don't know exactly where they're going. But
the movies make too much money.
Yeah, but my argument was never that they should have killed the other guys off. I said everyone went into this movie expecting that it's going to happen, especially when Iron Man is stabbed. Everyone kind of thinks that's the end for Iron Man. I'm not saying that's the way to go. Like I said before that, I think the way to go is to actually end it before you end up doing anything like that, because you leave more things up and they could be final in the sequel. Because honestly, I still think in the sequel, we're going to get all those finalities. I think we're going to take care of the older guys, the OGs. But as far as this and as far as what they did here, I just feel like it took me out of the movie because it immediately feels like it's not real, it's not happening, and it's not final. And I think to me that hurts the movie.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, like I get it. I get what your point is, and just saying like, are they really going to kill any of these characters? Are they really going to keep anyone dead? The answer might be no, but like, see, Loki, I don't know if Loki's gonna make a comeback, right? Like, that's kind of debatable how final his death is. But we know for sure Black Panther ain't dead, we know for sure Spider-Man ain't dead, right? And then when you take so many characters so quickly, and granted, I'm not crazy about the way they died, like, actually, like, just kind of disappearing, it just kind of takes that emotion out of it. Again, the problem that I had the entire movie is I wasn't in that moment where, like, I didn't feel like Black Panther died. I didn't feel like Spider-Man died. I just felt like, okay, this is where we're going to eventually bring them back.
I don't know. Like, I'm hearing this, and I hear
what you're saying.
But I still think even if it was the other half, or all of them, it couldn't be all.
Yeah.
No matter who it was, in my mind.
Well, in the way that they died. Yes, I agree. I agree, because if you take out 50% of the Avengers, or 50% of these characters, that's not final, right? Like, I think where everyone thought it was going to go is that Captain America was going to die, that was going to be the climax, right?
You see, I know that's what we all thought, but there's not a part of me that genuinely believes
that they're going to keep Captain America dead.
Yeah, Chris Evans.
No, that's
granted,
fair.
I think that, granted, I'll believe that
there's fair, but you said that you don't believe it. That doesn't mean that we know it. Like, we know Spider-Man's not dead. That's just it. You believe that Captain America wouldn't be dead. You would have a feeling that he wouldn't be.
No, I don't. I would have felt that way about all of them. I don't think they're going to kill any of them.
No, but that's fair. But we
don't
know if Captain America would be done after like everything that's been going on and everything like that. I think there's more skepticism there.
No, I'm only talking about from the financial side. The movies make so much, or these particular ones
talked about this.
Make so much money. They're not going to kill these off.
I always thought sending Captain America back into a timeline or something like that would be great because you keep him alive, but he's out of the universe. But I'm not arguing.
Pull him out again later.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that it should have been the other guys. I'm just arguing. I think the way that they did it and how fast they did it, I think it really takes the kind of emotion out of it. And for me, it's just hard to believe that that's the way we go. I get it though, it's different, it's kind of in your face, it makes people really shocked at the very end of the movie, but overall I think it's a very small payoff opposed to a very long emotional payoff where, for instance, if we stuck with the stabbing, I feel that feels more final, that feels more emotional, and we have that moment where, maybe coming back isn't an option. Because, how far can we go back now? Because, I'm pretty sure we're not going to let Gamora stay dead. Right?
Well, that and they already said Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming.
Yeah, but can they do that without Gamora? I don't think so. Yeah. So, but
that's what I'm trying to say.
But can they move on with Loki? Like, do you think Loki's dead for sure? Because Tom Holland has been like, or not Tom Holland, excuse me, Loki, Tom Hiddleston has been like, I'm kind of over this, So that's possible that he's not.
Yeah, but they say that, but then when the check is there.
No, I hear you. No, I hear you.
I guess I'm also talking about from the financial side.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think that's true. And that's kind of something. It's kind of similar to Last Jedi. It's a movie that really had you believe one thing, right? Like even the trailers set you up to believe like Iron Man's going to hold Captain America because we all think Captain America's going to die.
But I don't think. On the Loki thing, I don't think Loki has ever been a main star. He's been the best supporting for sure. But I don't think they ever would have did like a Loki standalone.
I think before Ragnarok, I think people choose Loki over Thor.
Sure, before that, but that reality is.
I think people love Loki.
Even before Ragnarok, I don't think they would have did a Loki film.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think that feels more final. That feels real. and I get what you're saying too. You're looking at it from the financial side, and I'm not totally disagreeing with you. All I'm saying is, I just feel like that you can't really feel those emotions with those deaths because we obviously just know that there's gonna be that comeback, and maybe that's a bias because of all the movie news we get nowadays and all the stuff that we know, behind the scenes nowadays. But overall, it's building to something where we know it's gonna continue, and obviously it's gonna kind of take back. And I just, if we're gonna kill someone off, I feel like you should do it. It should be real. Like, I would rather one person die rather than 8, and it be real and it really have an emotional, captivating feeling, rather than just these fake out deaths that I feel like is happening.
Yeah, and the bad thing too is I because of all the internet, I've seen the available behind the scenes of what Avengers 4 looks like. So that's exciting.
Yeah, but overall, again, I don't want, obviously that's one thing that just kind of jarred me the wrong way, But again, I don't blame that as the thing. It's because they didn't feel like much. I wasn't getting that emotion to it. At the end, I wasn't crying at the fact that Spider-Man and Black Panther had died. I wasn't crying the fact that Loki had died, and I think that's where the big shock is.
You know what else annoyed me actually about the film, now that I think about it, was the teenage Groot. The whole time, all he did was play the video game.
Yes.
But then he got the redemption with me when he broke his arm. That was awesome.
Yeah, and and that's another thing. Like Teenage Groot, sure he's there, and he has that one purpose. You bring back someone like Captain America, and I feel like you take him out of the movie works just fine. Right? Like, he really doesn't have that big of a role, and I think that's what's even more shocking about the whole rumor that Captain America is going to play this pivotal role where he's going to die, and all that things. But he doesn't end up really needing to be there. Not saying, in a movie with, like I said earlier, with this many characters, you can't have everyone feeling this massive importance. But Captain America is like the Avenger, it's pretty interesting to see what they did with them. But overall, I think it's a solid film that I think that just kept itself from really letting us kind of sit in the moment and really enjoy these emotions, or not enjoy, but really feel for these characters and really kind of extend our feelings with these characters to the full extent.
And now we have 12 more months, I guess we have Ant-Man and the Wasp that happens right before Infinity War.
Yes.
And then we understand why those two aren't even in the movie. And then I think they also tease that we're gonna also find out why Hawkeye is what he's doing.
Yes. and who else are we missing? We're missing Hawkeye. We're missing Ant-Man. And are we missing anyone else, or are those the only two?
That's it.
Okay. And then we have Captain Marvel, who is teased at the very
March of next year.
Very end of the movie.
And they said that that's going to happen in the 90s.
Yes, which takes place in the 90s, where
we find out why she's hidden.
Kevin Feige, or maybe it wasn't Kevin Feige, but someone said like it's going to be at the time where their video stores exist.
Yeah.
And it's very much confirmed at the end when Nick Fury actually pages her.
Yeah.
He doesn't call her, he doesn't give her the signal, he pages.
And we find out
Captain
why
Marvel.
In this movie we see why Nick Fury loses his eye.
Oh,
in
cool.
In Captain Marvel.
So
he has both eyes in Captain Marvel.
A lot of things to look forward to, but a movie
and then Avengers 4.
Yeah, a movie of this caliber, I think, is hard and challenging, and I think it's going to be, you say we have you're building 18 movies to bring everyone together. The expectations are through the roof.
Yeah.
And I understand that's challenging, and I cannot discredit Marvel. They've done a phenomenal job. They got 19 solid films. I would say maybe 2 of 19, almost like only, not even 10%.
Thor, the Dark World, and Iron Man 3?
No, definitely not Iron Man 3. But Avengers Age of Ultron for sure.
That wasn't great.
No,
that's the truth, it wasn't great.
And it's very forgettable. And a lot of people weren't fans
of
Ant-Man.
No one even talks about.
No.
And I liked Ant-Man.
I thought Ant-Man was fine. Yeah. But anyway, that's going to be it, I guess. Or is there anything else that you want to touch on? There's so much that happened to me. You have Peter Dinklage.
We can at least. Oh, that was great.
Peter Dinklage was fun. But Thor, man, every scene this guy's in, he stole the show, and I thought he was just so great.
I like when Hulk is like, "Oh, you guys are in trouble now," or whatever he said.
And I don't have any
that
insight
annoyed
to
me too.
That fact that Hulk can't be Hulk.
Yeah, that annoyed me.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I didn't mind.
Your friends are dying.
Yeah, like that is an emotional enough charge.
Yeah, because that's what's supposed to take it off. So.
I think for me though, the annoying thing was that they had him in the Hulkbuster costume, and they kept taking the helmet off, or the top part, and it didn't look good. When he was just standing there in the Hulkbuster with just his head, it didn't look very good. It looked very cheesy. But yeah, that's a whole new thing now, and like granted, the Hulk works for people. I mean, the Hulk for me, I think, has his purpose in the beginning. You don't really need him around, and it's an excuse to bring out the Hulkbuster costume again, I guess.
The Hulkbuster was fine, and I thought they were gonna bust it up when all those crazy aliens jumped on top of him.
Yeah.
I thought that was
when he was going through, and I thought he was gonna break through the suit.
Yeah, me too.
But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Or at least let it be the scene then when Thanos comes out.
Yeah. So I'm assuming maybe they're gonna go to it where it's because of seeing Scarlett Johansson again and his emotions of not being able to tell her. I don't know.
To me, those are the three things I don't like: Baby Groot or Teenage Groot,
which is
only playing a video game.
Yeah.
And then the
Dave Bautista
Hulk,
still kicks ass. He cracks me up.
He was freaking hilarious.
Yes. Oh, and I mean, shocked by how well they used the spider legs in the spider suit.
One part where it was tumbling, that was cool.
The tumbling, but I mean, even the first time we see it, when he's going through the space thing and he stops himself, I mean, what a reaction from the crowd. It was badass. It was really great. Overall, I think it's a fun stuff. There's a lot of good things here. I mean, if you've enjoyed all these movies, you're not going to not like this movie.
Yeah.
This isn't a bad movie, but I think with as much hype as it had, and maybe the direction they decided to go of just incredibly fast pacing where we don't really get to absorb those emotions, it's not my favorite of the Marvel movies, but it's still up there. I mean, it's still a solid film. I'd give it 3 out of 4. A solid B+ movie.
I loved it, man. I was saying 10 out of 10. Maybe I'll say 9 only because I have those 3 problems actually. Now I think.
See, this is what I say. James hype, and then he starts thinking about it.
Maybe those.
And then it comes down.
But everything else I love, and I love the pacing of the movie too, dog. I loved it.
I mean, for 2.5 hours, it doesn't feel that way. I mean, it definitely feels lengthy.
Everyone has 10 minutes, and then those 10 minutes.
We're constantly hopping. Yeah. No. And I'm trying to think of.
There's a part where I even forgot we were with Iron Man.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Bucky Barnes?
Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, not really a really important character. Wakanda, to me, it was so funny because, all these emotional investments I have with all these characters wanting to stay alive, the one thing that probably broke my heart more than right below the Gamora thing was, I was so afraid that Wakanda was going to be destroyed. I fell in love with Wakanda Black Panther, and I'm just like, please don't destroy this place because it's so amazing. Oh, and I would have loved to see more of T'Challa's sister. She definitely got some screen time, but still not as much. Oh, last thing. Unless this breaks up another thing, but I do think the Vision Scarlet Witch interaction is quite touching too.
Yeah, I liked it.
And I thought he played that quite well. Again, still hitting that surface and not kind of taking over that barrier where it really feels like it's happening, where you're really feeling the emotion, but still good enough to where I think it's notable.
And I think for me too, I always got annoyed of freaking Elizabeth Olsen,
Scarlet Witch.
Wanda Maximoff. I think I got annoyed of her in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
But then that movie wasn't very good, so that actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But in this one, this was my favorite use of her character. Yes.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it was a really good movie that put these other smaller characters that were normally in the front seat or normally in the side. Because, like I said, you have Captain America, literally the main Avenger who falls in the background, but you have Doctor Strange in the forefront. You have Mantis who plays a key role in the entire thing. All of these characters kind of take this forefront, so it's interesting. I'm curious to see where we go from here exactly, where we start out. But for me, I think you end about 10 minutes earlier and you cut it with that snap, and I think you have a really phenomenal jaw-dropping ending.
That's okay.
That's it. A 12 o'clock screening is getting out. All these people are excited. We're not going to talk about this anymore. We're going to call this a wrap.
I need a refund.
James Hsu. That person didn't like it very much.
He wanted a refund. That's it.
But what are you going to do?
ChaseTheCinema.com.
Known as the Film Lovers website.